My name is Chris Brown. I am part of the Intelygenz team that looks after our whole business that has been 20 years in deep tech. We have, in the last 10 years, added AI to our portfolio. We have got 10 years experience in doing that, and I want to talk about how we move from talking the talk, getting out of the world which is absolutely rammed full of people talking with hype, and move into the world that's not quite as full of people actually doing it and putting it in place. I want to talk to you today about how we get out of the space of talking the talk and walking the walk. I want to talk about applied AI. And what do I mean about applied AI? What I mean about applied AI is any kind of AI that underpins real solutions in production that solve real-world problems that generate return of investment. I don't care if it's CNNs, LLMs, LSTMs, whether it's supervised learning, unsupervised learning, RAG, models as service, open source models. I really don't care. We don't care. What we care about is, does it change your operational efficiency? Does it drive different ways to engage with your customers that make impact in your market? Does it change how you can approach a market? Does it create a market? Does it create growth? They're the only problems that we really care about when it comes to AI. This slide behind me shows there are just so many layers of hype within artificial intelligence. This one shows 8, but it's not exhaustive in any way, shape, or form. But what it doesn't do is help leaders cut their way through all of the noise to understand, where should I apply AI? Where can it be impactful? What should I care about? And my argument, and happy to have the debate all day, I'm here all day. My argument that I want to put forward is, you either already know all of this stuff because you have a background in data science, ML engineering, or ML ops, or you don't have to know any of this because that is not your background, and leave it to the experts. What you have to do is care about really leading your business to understand where to apply AI. We've got 10 years experience, so we started really early. We were the weird kids on the block. I'm telling you, 10 years ago, like, who were these people? Like, talking about witchcraft and black boxes, and of course, over 10 years, we got more and more fashionable as AI climbed the priority list of reality of what makes sense to a business. But you don't have to have 10 years of experience to know the top level line or the top level details to the knowledge that you need on all of the things I just put on that previous slide. Because you can get it with 2 or 3 prompts into GPT. And you will know, unless you're going to be a data scientist, or you're going to perform ML ops, or you're going to perform ML engineering capabilities within a project, you can find everything out with a few prompts. Again, my argument is, don't get caught in the trap of trying to win the debate at the round table or at the parties, looking like the smartest person in the room that knows about AI. That's not going to lead your business to successful implementation of artificial intelligence that's really going to drive business change. To walk the walk, you need to look and focus on a completely different aspect of AI. Because Gartner tells us this is reality. 85% of AI projects that start never make it into production. They don't make it out the lab. They don't make it out the innovation centers. And if they don't make it out the innovation centers in the lab, that means 85% of AI investment is not providing any return of investment. And no one can afford to travel that journey for very long. Nobody. But approaching the AI conversation, avoiding getting trapped in all of that noise of the hype, can put you square in that 15% of successful companies. We've spent a long time working with our clients on getting them inside that 15% where AI is underpinning core processes reliably, robustly, with benchmarking, with feedback loops, that they can absolutely rely upon within their business. And that is where I think leaders like CIOs, like all of you guys are, should be concentrating on a different conversation. We usually talk to technical folk about focusing on 3 things. and we talked to non-technical folk about focusing on a different three things. Fortunately or unfortunately for you guys, the CIO sits right at the intersection of those. So you need to be looking at all of these things. If we think about the technical ones, here we're talking about data-driven architectures. We've got to feed the beast, right? There's no denying AI is data hungry. And data-driven architectures, and I spoke to some people yesterday during our one-to-one meetings, that you've got to feed the beast, and you've got to have your data in a good position. You've then got to have it at speed. You've got to stream that data. You've got to stream the data in to your training models. You've got to stream the data into inference, and you've got to stream the answers out and be ready to absorb them. And being ready to absorb them is the last piece. Human-centric design. We're not creating machines for machines, not yet. Anyway, we're creating machines, and there was a conversation yesterday in a panel, we're creating machines for humans to interact. And if you don't create solutions that manage confidence, that are easy to use, that make people's lives easier, the resistance to change is going to be too high no matter how good your technical solution is. On the business and deployment side, and I'm going to focus a lot on this today because I think I only have 20 minutes. I can't do both. And I picked the commercial success factors, the business deployment, because I just think it's just not talked enough in the whole discussion. And I think here on this side is where you can really make a difference. Where am I going to apply it? As CIOs, how do you help? Brilliant question before of, well, let's do some technology. Why? Why? For what reason? And what is the art of the possible? I think CIOs have a really big role to play in leading the organization to understand really what AI can do. What is Hollywood versus reality? What can it really do? What is our business today in a position for? I'm not saying you have to wait for your perfect data-driven architecture to get on the AI journey. I'm not saying that. You want that as a target. You want that as a North Star. But don't wait, because you'll never get there, right? It's the end of the rainbow. So how do you lead your team to where to apply AI? Consumption models. I think this is talked about less than anything, and it's just the first misstep you can ever make in an AI project is how am I going to consume the AI? And I'll talk a bit about that in a second. And then the third one is, how am I going to deploy it? Who am I going to use? How am I going to do it? What is it going to look like? And I'm going to focus on those three things. And the reason I'm going to focus on those three things is because over 10 years, I haven't met a CEO who cares what model you use, who cares what training methodology you use. They don't care. Honestly, they don't. I'm being a bit provocative. They don't care. They might show a little bit of interest, but no one really cares. They care about what results are you going to achieve. They really don't care. So that's why these three pieces are where I want to focus over the next 10, 15 minutes. And then I'll go into we promise some real applications. What are people asking us for today? I'll finish off with that, and then we can go to question and answer. But this is the message I want to leave today. These are the three things as CIOs that when you're looking outside of your team, not leading the technical conversation, when you're looking to lead your business outside of your technology teams, these are the three aspects that I really think you should be concentrating on. So if I look at where to apply AI, this is a great conversation because as complicated and as messy as that whole technology scene is, right, with the slide I showed before, where you apply AI can be boxed off and guided into a conversation in a 9-box model. Honestly, just a 9-box model can really help you map out and help lead your business as to where you can apply AI. Because the solutions that we deploy for our clients, yes, they can be technically complex. I agree. They're technically complex and they can have high variance in the solutions that we apply. But they all have one common factor. The objective that they're trying to fulfill is poetically simple. And I'll give some examples later. Actually, I'll give you some examples now, just to make a point. So we have examples where I don't want this truck to leave the depot unless I know the tarpaulin is on the back of the truck. It has to be. That's it. It's super simple. It's not really difficult to understand. The technology to implement that and make it happen can be complex, but the objectives are super simple. I want to have the best HR conversational agent, infinitely scalable, that my organization has ever seen. Okay. Poetically simple to understand the objectives. So if you look at AI, away from all the mess, away from all the LSTMs, CNNs, LLMs, GPT, is GPT, yeah, GPT is an LLM, does it only do generative? No, it doesn't only, away from all of that, if you think about what AI can do in this model, I honestly believe it will put you in a great place to guide that conversation with the other leaders around your leadership table. AI can really only do three things. It can only do three things. It can classify things or detect things, which is a binary classification. It can predict and forecast. And the new kid on the block, it can generate. And that takes a lot of attention, right? But there's a lot of value in the other two as well. And it can do those three things on roughly three types of data. It can see things, so it can do it on video and image. It can listen, read, and understand things, so it can do it on unstructured text, or audio, which is transcribed, and then it's unstructured text. Or it can find patterns in structured data. That's it. And I put some examples. I know I'm stood in front of here, right? So I'll get out of the way. I'm sorry. I put some examples on here. They're just some examples that fit on a slide. Obviously, there's hundreds of examples that we've deployed. And you can see that you can map very easy, very simple to understand applications of AI into a 9-box model. This, I honestly believe, is one of the key things of guiding where is one of the hardest problems. Where can we apply this in our business? If you have a strategy and you understand your strategy and then you understand this map of what AI can do, put the two together, you will find target spots that can make reality happen. The most under-talked about conversation in AI, I believe, is this one. Once I've found out where I'm going to apply it, how am I going to consume AI? And there are three fundamentally different models of consuming AI. Off the shelf. So what do I mean by off the shelf? I mean off the shelf is someone else has done all the hard AI work. It's all done. You're solving a generic problem that is going to be trained on generic data, and it gives you a fantastic solution that you can consume as software as a service. It looks like software as a service. You don't need heavy skills or AI skills in order to consume the power that has been produced by somebody else. And we've got some great examples in the room today of providers that are putting AI inside their product for you to consume. Model as a service and open source models are both examples of custom AI solutions. Here you're going to have to manage the whole life cycle of an AI project. But they have some major differences. So model as a service are foundational models that have had billions invested in them. GPT, the most famous example, but there are others that are offered to be tuned with your custom data. So using capabilities like RAG, but we don't care about technology. We've all just discovered that now, right? But you can use model as a service where you can tune an already foundational model. They're offered on a commercial basis. Open source models are models that you're now going to host, either in the cloud, behind your firewall, wherever you want to do. Here you can actually configure the models, not only train them, but totally change the hidden layers. If it's DNN, you can completely configure the model, then you train it, and then you manage and manipulate it. All these ways of consuming AI have fundamental commercial, legal, regulatory impacts on the project. And if you make the wrong move at the very start of a project, it'll be really difficult to recover. They impact things like speed, cost, differentiation, skills, IP, security, regulatory. This could be a 20-minute conversation in its own right, but let me just pull out some examples. Off the shelf tends to be fast. It tends to be super fast. It tends to be low cost in comparison to a custom model solution. Can you get massive amounts of differentiation? Not really, because by definition, it's open to the world, it's software as a service, and everybody can use it, right? But can you get operational efficiencies, and can you make a difference to your engagement with your clients? Yeah, absolutely you can. What skills do you need? You don't need companies like us. You don't need heavy AI skills and capabilities in order to get these projects off the ground. So it can be fast. It looks like software as a service, so from a security and regulatory point of view for the lawyers, and the security in the room, it looks like software as a service. It's familiar, right? So it can be a really good way to get AI off the ground. Model as a service, fastest way to get to a custom model. For sure, it's the fastest way to get to a custom model. And now we're training on your data. Now you're answering really specific questions about your data in your organization, whether it's a classification, whether it's generation, but it's based on your data. And that's a big difference in AI. From a differentiation point of view, you can start to create massive amounts of differentiation within your business because it's trained on your data. From a skills point of view, you're going to have to manage the entire AI lifecycle within that project, except for hosting the model, because the model's going to be hosted for you and it's going to be supplied as a service. But the model's in the center. I know we get all distracted with the sexy AI bit in the middle, but there's a whole piece of data work over here of data engineering, feature stores, synthetic data if you need it, and over here you've got all of your version control, all of your feedback loops, all of your validation and benchmarking that you're still going to have to look after over here. From a commercial point of view, it matters because now you're paying for tokens. Every time you hit the model, you're paying for tokens. So you now need to think about, can I afford that in my business case? Is this the right way forward? Do I need to architect in a way where I reduce the amount of tokens that I'm hitting the model with? So it has impacts on all of these aspects. And the same for open source models. So open source model, for example, you own the IP. That's important for some industries. With the other two, there's no IP ownership that you will ever achieve from your solution. You might gain a lot of differentiation. You might gain a lot operational. You might gain a lot of customer engagement enhancement, but you'll never own the solution from an IP perspective, not the model, because it belongs to somebody else. And if that's important to your business, then open source is important. Or if you have a data issue, so we work with a lot of banks, for example, where data doesn't leave the firewall, well, you can forget about off the shelf and you can forget about model as a service, unless off the shelf gives you an on-prem solution. Because model as a service, you can't put it behind your firewall. You can't put GPT behind your firewall. Now you're thinking, well, if I'm not going to use GPT, I've got Llama. Llama's come up. Well, that's an open source model from Meta. I can take it, I can replicate it, I can host it, I can put it behind my firewall. Really, really important aspects to think about before you even start. And I just don't think this conversation happens enough. And the final piece is, how am I going to deploy it? Off the shelf is a really easy one, because off the shelf, the only choice you've got is buy. You have to buy it. Yes, you might want to partner. You might want to partner in order to do implementation, depend on the skills of your organization, et cetera, and how complex the solution is. But it's a simple buy decision. You've got to go buy it because that's the only way it's available. For model as a service and open source models where you have to manage the entire end-to-end life cycle, you've got a couple of choices. You can either partner with companies like us or other high-skilled AI organizations that have the ML ops, the ML engineering, and the high levels of data science skills that are required in order to make a robust production deployment of AI. Or you choose, if you are an AI strategy forward organization, to go and build that capability inside your organization. That is a very expensive, but it can give you the volume that you want to achieve. And that is when you're thinking, I'm going to be deploying many models for the future, and I'm willing to invest tens of millions up front, then you can start to build that capability in-house. That's the choices that you've got. These are the three, These are the three choices, or the three conversations, I think, if you can lift yourself right out, get out of the, is this model type, is it unsupervised learning, winning the party battle, right, of the round tables. If you elevate yourself out of that and have the conversations of where should I apply it, how am I going to consume it, how am I going to deploy it, is how you stop talking the talk and how you start walking the walk to make implementations of AI happen that give return of investment for your business. People are doing it. Some teenagers are having sex, right? It is happening, right? And if you want to join the 15%, that's the conversations to be having with your business and to lead them. Because I really do think, of course, you've got I showed that slide where you've got the other side where you've got to lead your technical organizations. You sit at the intersection. I'm sorry, you have to have this conversation. But this one is how you lead your business to understand where to apply it. Okay, I promised I would do some, what are the most popular things we're being asked to do today conversation. So I'm going to give you some of them. I've only got 3, but I'm here all day, and if you want to ask me about others. What are the big things people are asking us today? Conversational agents. If you had talked to me 3 years ago, I was the biggest chatbot hater you will ever have met in your life. I hated them with a passion, right? I never thought they were the right answer for the end user, right? When you talk about human-centric solutions, I couldn't think of anything less human-centric as an end user than a chatbot. They were driven off decision tree. They had minimal interpretation of what you were trying to talk about, which led to really crappy entry points into the decision tree. The decision tree was bad. I understood the point from a force field perspective. I understand it was a force field for a business between massive amounts of inbound communications and what economically can I afford in order to serve that. But it was never the right answer for the end user. The world's massively changed, right? I always talk about, you know, I'm sure everyone's seen The Matrix, when Neo's sitting there in the chair and he goes, I know Kung Fu. With RAG on LLM now, and I know we don't care about technology, but it's really important to know, we can now have completely unbounded, no rule. I need to be careful with unrule. We can still put rules and guide bars in there, it's important. But we can have very unbounded conversation fully with massive amounts of knowledge inside a conversational agent. You can tune, using any techniques, but mostly RAG, LLMs with your own data. You can start to fill it up with all of your processes, no matter what the subject is. If it's inbound consumer inquiries, you can load it with your product data. You can load it with your processes. You can load it with your warranty data. You can load it with every single thing. You can create the most comprehensive, knowledgeable customer service agent at almost infinite scale using this technique. Chatbots have found their time. A bit like when we were 10 years ago and we were weird and we now found our time, right? The chatbots have found their time. So we use this for comms, for inbound comms for end clients. We do a lot actually on HR. So HR was a Debbie talking about HR communication agents or conversational agents. Do a lot on HR we get to learn a lot because our superpower is we work across all industries, and our super weaknesses we work across all industries, but we get to learn a lot about different industries and different sectors of a business. The consumption or the energy consumed to get an employee onboarded and up to skill is not only about getting that person up to skill and getting them up to speed and operational and effective as they possibly can be, as quickly as they can be. It's the energy they absorb from all around the organization trying to find things out. And you can reduce a massive amount of that. So we get asked a lot to do it on HR employee onboarding conversational agents. But it doesn't matter what the subject. Chatbots are real. They do work. It actually still makes me cringe when I say chatbot, right? Because I was a massive hater, but they work. They're really, really effective, and we do a lot of it. Quality assurance via visual inspection. So again, I talked about the truck one before. That was actually a trucking company down in Alabama, and they said we lose a lot of money because loads are not secured correctly with the tarpaulin, and I just need to stop the truck moving if the tarpaulin's not on. Can you make that happen for me? That is a quality assurance through visual inspection. Can I look at an image, classify that it is in the right format for this truck to leave? And we can do it with high accuracy. We've done that just to show the breadth of, this is the same box. It's the same box on that model. It's visual inspection. So it's a classification inside vision. Fits inside that nine box model. We've also done exactly this, what we think is exactly the same project for silicon chip manufacturer. So silicon chips, silicon has natural cracks or natural hairline cracks in the silicon that they're so fine that they electrically test correctly. But when they go in the field, they fail. So we take infrared images from the manufacturing floor and say whether a crack exists within a piece of silicon or not. Poetically simple. It's hundreds of millions of dollars worth of problem, but the objective is really simple. The technology on that one is even more complex because you've got imbalanced data, you've got backside grinding marks that you've got to exchange, and you've got to separate from the actual cracks themselves using Fourier transforms. A whole load of data science goes into making the model work, but it's poetically simple. It's quality assurance through visual inspection. We do it for road maintenance, asset maintenance. So there's companies that look after all of the assets on roads, and historically, they walk the road. Is there a reflector? Is there a bollard? Is there a sign where it needs to be? Is it broken? Is it not? How do I create the job sheet for tomorrow and make sure the inventory's on the back of the truck for somebody to fix it? We take that on a GoPro, nothing more than a GoPro. Just send us the video, you drive the road, and we take that video, and actually it's a 2-model stack, so it's a little bit more complex of, can you classify this, can you classify this road asset? Show me the bollard, show me the reflector, show me the road sign. Is it a mile marker road sign? Is it a directional road sign? We classify it all, we take the snapshot, we get the image, and then we say, is it in good shape? Is it graffitied? Is it broken? Is it fallen over? Is it standing up? And then we build a job sheet from the end of it. Super simple, poetically, again, from a concept. Quality assurance through visual inspection is a lot of what we do today. And then email tagging and classification. Sounds a bit like chatbot, but it's not, because the end result of what you're trying to achieve is slightly different. And it doesn't have to be email, by the way. That world's changed. Any inbound comms. Email tagging and classification is really about how do I take unstructured data and get it into a structured ticketing platform. So how do I classify what this inbound communication is about? So it could be an account query, it could be a billing query, it could be a repair query, it could be account management, any of those topics. So the first thing we do is, hey, what are you trying to talk to me about? And we classify it. From there, you could actually just ship it out as a nice little automated sorting office. But what we're trying to do is then go inside the email or inside the communication syntactically and pull out really key aspects of that, because we need to get it into a format where we're creating a ticket from an email. That tends to be what we're doing here. So we'll do a lot in telco operations, anywhere where you've got operations where you've got unstructured data coming in as the input, and you want structured data going out as ticket management to get it into a format. This is what we're using, and that's another one. So you can start to create. This is the precursor, actually. You can start to create a fully automated, no human touch, end-to-end resolution for operations. And this is the first part of that. The second part is, once I look at that ticket, have I seen it before? What does the profile look like? What do the logs look like? Can I fix operationally what I've done? And I just want to pick up on one thing here that we talk about a little bit is, and I've got yellow, 17 seconds, so I need to be really quick, right? So I'm going to touch on the human-centric bit and the absorption. When you apply AI in a business, you don't have to create the solution, switch it on, and then hold tight and hope that it's really going to work, right? You don't have to do that. In fact, it's absolutely not what you should do at all. Imagine being in an operational world. So in an operational world, we create ticket next best action, which is the next sequel down from email tagging classification. We create tickets and we say, hey, I can read all your tickets and I can tell you exactly what to do with them. Switch it on, it'll all be fine. Operations guys are like, because that is never going to happen. Because when it doesn't work, Chris, who are they going to call? Are they going to call you? Or are they going to call me? Who's getting out of bed, me or you? I'm not getting out of bed. There's no way I'm getting out of bed, it'd be you. So like, okay, so how do we find a way to do, I think there was a question yesterday about how do we do benchmarking? How do we do validation, continual validation of what this looks like? And that's what we do. So in this case, you can say, well, let's do it, and it depends on the organization, the challenge you're trying to solve, but it's important that you take this into account. I'm going to put this in suggestion mode. I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to give an interface to your current service providers or service operators, and they're going to click, yes, I did that, yes, I did that, yes, no, I didn't, yes, I did, no, I didn't, yes, 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 yes. Then we're going to look and say, hey, you know, on these SD-WAN faults, we're 99.9% accurate. Should we just turn that bit on? Yeah, let's turn that bit on, all right? On this one, we're 98% accurate. Is that, oh, well, honestly, when we're a human, we're only about 60% accurate. So yeah, let's switch that on. Okay, we'll switch that on. This one, we're 40% accurate. Not sure about, okay, well, let's start focusing our training on solving these ones over here. So you can start to turn the dial with confidence. And if we can get telco operations guys to trust in AI, I honestly believe we can get anybody to trust in AI, right? Because they're so conservative and they deal with so many problems. So don't think you have to switch it on and hold tight. And I will finish with that.